Hello again everyone, and in today's video we're first going to tackle getting our turn animations fixed and in place, as well as fixing a four-way directional movement so that we can now move properly around the level. Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In this video we will be adding the turn animations to the character and then re-implementing the four-way directional movement so that if we press S, A or D when we move left, right or backwards, we will face that direction. But first, for anyone that's following from video 1 from video 2, if not and you want to start from scratch, just download the project in the description. But I've just gone into the player character animations folder and put all the animations that were there in this player skeleton, and that is because we need these animations, but we're currently, even though it looks like we're using the player character, we're using the UE5 mannequin, which uses a different skeleton, so we need to retarget all of these. I'll show you how to do that. Luckily, with the base project that I sent you all, there is a retargeter. If you are following outside of this project, there's must be tens of videos on setting up a retargeter by now, and so feel free to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do that in this video just because then the video length would be crazy. Yeah, so here we go, should be somewhere here. Here we go, retarget animation assets. And here it's the new IK retargeter. And then in the folder, I'm going to change this. So player character, animations, and I'm going to put it in the mannequin folder. And then just retarget. Right, brilliant. I'm just going to check that these work. Right, yeah, my computer's been a little bit slow, I'm not 100% sure why. And I think we're just going to force the root lock. Right, there we go, apologies for that. And now you see that we've clicked this force root lock, we're not actually moving like that, which is what we want. And I think the only animation we're going to be using is this in the left strafe. So we'll just quickly force a root lock on those. Right, and what we are doing is replacing the current movement blend space that is currently being used for the movement. So what is happening here is that there are 3 animations in a blend space that whenever we move, it takes the player's speed and blends the animations together depending on that. And so that is a one-dimensional blend space, and we want 2 dimensions using the speed and the direction. The direction is a variable that we made last time with our turning system. So just go into animation, and here we are, blend space. We're going to use our mannequin, BS underscore speed direction. Right, here we are. And so here you'll notice we have these two axes. And on the side here, in the axis settings, we can name them. So our horizontal will be our direction, and our vertical will be our speed. The first thing I'm going to do is basically we're just going to copy in this first middle line here what already exists. Although I think for the walk and the run we might use our new animations. Run. And then I think if you press control you can actually see what's happening. So as the speed goes up, the animation changes. And that's just generally how blend spaces work. And I think, yeah, we only want 3 in the height as well. Oh, that was the wrong axis. Although, yeah. So we'll change that to fit. And if you hold shift, it'll lock in place. Right, brilliant. So then, now we can drag in our strafing animations. And our right strafe. Although, some are walking and some are running, aren't they? Right. Be easier if we just type in strafe. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. Quickly. Alright, brilliant. So, close these. There we go. So put walking straight right. Just replace this over just in case. Walking straight left and straight left. Yeah, so now if we hold control, you can see that he now twists properly, which is what we want. Now if we save this, we'll just have to test it out and go back to our content, go to our third person, our blueprints, our character, and then in our viewpoint, if we click on our mesh, drag this on the side, we have our animation blueprint, and if we just press this button here, it'll quickly show us where it is in the content browser. As you see here, we click on animation graph, go to locomotion, we have these two states, idle for when we stood still, and walk run for when we're not, and this is the one that we'll be replacing. And now if we drag this in here, so we already have a variable for our speed, and even though we're replacing it, the chest twist will have the same data that we want. Although, if I'm right in thinking, No, we don't get an absolute value, which is good. And then, but before I do this, just one thing that we forgot. We'll go into our walk run. The walk is at 231 and the speed is at 500. We want to replicate that. So at the side here, in our vertical, we want to change the maximum value to copy the blend space we already have. And speed, that's about right. Somewhere about there. Well, yeah, we'll just round it down, because then we can look at it and we can be definite. Or we just can we shift click these? No. Or we can type it in manually just to be exact. I did that automatically. Nice. And then, as well as that, we want to go into our horizontal axis, and we're using an alpha value between 0 and 1. So, with that, because we're going to the minuses, go to -1 and 1. But it didn't like that. So I'm just going to press Ctrl Z and I'm going to change these. Oh, so they're going to mess up no matter what, aren't they? Oh. Well, it didn't like us doing that. Let's see. See if there's an easy way to get around this. So unfortunately, it seems like if you change it, it sets it out of bounds, it will completely error all the animations that are in there. Which is annoying, but it's only a quick fix. So we'll just chuck all these in again. Right, okay, and we're back. So, sorry about that, a little bit of a tedious process, but now we know something new about blend spaces, that really we should be setting these variables first, because it can really mess up otherwise. Right, but now, with that chest twist in place, we'll compile, minimize, play. I don't know how this is going to mix with the system that we already had with it. Oh, there we go, and there's the issue that I was telling you about with the locking in place. So before we do anything, we're going to have to find a way to turn the IK off. So here we go. So this is the control rig that controls the IK. And I'm sure that if we look in the blend space, really we need to have it working so that the IK is only working when we're idle. And then while we're moving, therefore doing any of the animations that we're using, it won't do the IK that sticks us to the floor. But then once we stop, it'll be using the IK again, so we're still taking advantage of it. So it seems like we have this should move. So if should move is true, we don't want to be doing this. So we want to add another boolean to this. So if we type in or, we can get an or boolean, which basically just means it's going to ask this question: are we not falling? Or yeah, right, brilliant. So now we have our turning animations working much better. Right, okay, and so for the next part of this tutorial, we are going to fix the issue that we've made with our turning system. Because when we're going forward, everything's fine. But if we go left, right, or backwards, we're no longer facing the direction that we're moving for those button inputs. So we're going to fix that. And so I'm going to be working in the character test, but you guys should be working in the character, because every time I release a video, there'll be a download for the project folder with the character blank, but in the character test, we'll have everything that we do in this tutorial. Just for anyone that if they have a mistake that they can't seem to solve by looking through the video, they can use this for reference. Or if they just want to start from that video. So say if you're watching the series, you've dealt with what was in the other previous videos before, and you just want to start from episode 4 or 5, go for it. Okay. Right, so what we're doing is we are using these two axis values on the forward and back from the left and right, and we're going to combine them together to make its own variable, and we're then going to use the information from that to force our target arrow to point the way that we're moving. So to do that, we're going to drag out from here, and we're going to make a vector 2D. Make vector 2D, exactly that. And then we're going to plug this into something called a switch. Now switches can work for a number of different variable types. All the ones that we're seeing here are different enumerators that just exist on the base version of UE5. But right at the bottom, or we can always type switch on string, but it's always at the bottom. It's switch on string, and how a switch works is very sensitive for a switch on string, but if any data that's plugged into this selection matches any of these, it will then follow along and execute the commands along that path. So if it's case 0, it'll go this way, case 1 this way, 2 this way. So that means we want to plug this in here, and we need to import the exact data that we're going to get from this into here. Now, luckily I did this before, just so you don't have to watch me slog through it and plug this in. But as you're typing it in, it's a capital X equals the number with 3 decimal places, and make sure to put the minuses in, and then there's a space. Make sure you put the space in, or it will not read it. And then y equals 0 with 3 decimal places, and that is how you input that. So if you just pause it and then copy this, and then you'll be ready to follow. Right, okay. So now we've got that, We just want to plug that into these. And we're going to then use this to make a modifier on our direction. So here, when we're setting the rotation of our target arrow, we're going to add a modifier. And just make this move out of the way a little bit, just give us a little bit of space. If we drag out from here and promote this to a variable, and we will just call it the direction modifier. Brilliant. And then so now we just want to set this a number of different times. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. Right, brilliant. And then I'm just going to go and pause it and put in all this data in, and then when I come back you can just easily copy it. Alright, brilliant. So if you just copy all of these variables and input them, you'll be good to go. Right, and so now, first, before we go into test it to see if it works, this isn't complete, because it just means that it will only work when we are not moving, but in the forward and backwards, but it's not paying attention to the left and right. So we want all here. We'll copy that. And now it should work. So now, oh, no, it hasn't. Might need to be another. So I'll just go and see what's happening here. Right, okay, it was no issue. It was just that in the game mode, I didn't have this plugged into the test character which I'm using. So now, yeah, brilliant. The direction arrow is facing, but it doesn't seem like it's following it. So we'll see what's happening there. Okay, so I think we're having some issues with this branch. We're not asking it the right question. So I think what we'll do is we will add them together and we'll ask if this is equal to 0. Which means that if we're not moving, this will always be 0 and this will always be true. Which means, so we want the not value of that, because we want it to proceed whenever we are not moving. There we go. So let's plug this in now. We'll try it. And then alright, so we've got a little bit of an issue with going backwards, which we'll now just fix. And just quickly first, I'm pretty sure that in the test character, or in your version of the character, this has a bit input, which I apologise for. So, just quickly input this, and then you'll be using the same version that I'm doing. But then, yeah, I think we need to modify this so that it fits less. If we're going backwards, we times it by -1. So, if we get a multiply here, no, I don't think we want that. We want a vector times a float. I think hopefully if we just plug float in, there we go. Right. And I don't know what's happening here, but we're just going to see it's nothing. Yeah, so make a little bit of space for us here. Leave this out. So we want to get this axis value, and if it's greater than or equal to 0, we will select the float based on that. And A will be -1 and B will be 1. So that if we're going backwards, it'll times it by -1, meaning that instead of going forwards, we'll go backwards, really. So, yeah. Oh, there was done something there. I think these are the wrong way around. 1 and -1. Left. We'll move right. Brilliant. So we might have to do something to actually. This is a bit snappy. Which makes me feel like we may have made an error somewhere. UE4. So I am right in thinking that we are always facing the direction arrow. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just this turn is a little bit quick. Yeah, but the turn's still happening. It's just that if we go 45 degrees, it's just a little bit fast. So do it to 1.5. Maybe just these numbers need changing around. So, just to make it a bit extreme, let's see what this does. Oh no, so we need to so this should make it super slow. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, right, so I think it's just a case of 4's a little bit too high. So we'll change it 3. Brilliant. And we might be getting a bit of an extremity here. So if we, and I thought this looked ugly anyway, and it was just a quick fix until we worked out something to get rid of the RK. So although I highly suggest if you still want to make use of it, possibly just make this a lot less extreme. Yeah, that's loads better. But like I said, I still want to make use of it. So we'll just divide it by 3. Just so it's a lot more subtle. We really want to only make values extreme just when we test them out so we can clearly see them. Yeah, and that's 1,000 times better. Right. Now, I think that's now the movement all sorted well. In terms of actually walking and running around. So in the next video, we're either going to target the jumping, even though in UE5 I really like the jumping compared to UE4. In UE4 I didn't like it at all. But this jump I like a lot more. I'm just not sure how I feel about how the movement still comes into place when you're in the air. I don't think it should. I know it lags it down, but I'll see. I'm going to do some research, look at a load of different games and see if we can find a way to even make the jump feel a bit more real so we can't spin in the air, or just to add a little bit more impact to the jump. And failing that, we will add a sprinting system. So I will see you next time and thank you for watching.